We're jumping right into the game, into the mulligan, and we see the shaman for LB Dutch Boy and the warrior for PrivateRyan. Now let's see which cards are they going to keep and which ones they are going to throw away. So what would you keep? What would you throw away?
What you're looking for as a warrior is your early game cards, because if you lose the board early game against Shaman, you're definitely gonna lose the game. So you're looking for your Armor Smith, your definitely your Fury War Axe, because that can contest the Tunnel Trog. But as you can see, the hand of Ratje, it's really strong. He has already the 2 and the 3 drop, and he also has the Blood to Iker.
Yeah, so he's off to a good start. Great hands, PrivateRyan. And we see the shaman deck, the totem shaman of LB Dutch Boy. He will be seeking for that board control as well, and plays the Tunnel Trog. And afterwards, maybe would you coin in the Feral Spirits afterwards? Because
No, it looks really good, but the problem is that you don't have another 1-drop or another one mana spell, so your turn 3 will be dead. So what you can do is like coin out the Tuskar, and then on turn 3 play the Feral Spirits. So you can curve out a little bit better.
Yeah, he's hoping to draw into a Totem Golem maybe. What also is a good start as a shaman, the Totem Shaman, I believe, is the Argent Squire and then the Flame Tongue Totem. Then you have a Divine Shield minion with a 3-1 on turn 2. But we see the hand of Ryan here. He's going to play the Iker just to contest the board.
Yeah, it's really well played by PrivateRyan there. Normally you would think, oh, it's turn 2, play your Armor Smith, but what PrivateRyan is doing here, he damages the Tunnel Trog, and now the Slime is contesting the Tunnel Trog, so it forces LB Dutch Boy to play an Overload card.
Yeah, and he draws into the Totem Golem, the top deck maybe that he was looking for, but now with that Tunnel Trog having 1 damage and being a 1-2, it can only trade into the Slime, so difficult choice maybe for LB Dutch Boy. Do you go for the Tuskar Totemic and wait for the Totem Golem, or just play Totem Golem and trade?
You definitely not go for the Tuskar, because the PrivateRyan will make the value trade on the Tunnel Trog. So what you can do, just play the Totem Golem, trade your Tunnel Trog into the Slime, even go face, it's also a possibility. But I think you make the value trade here.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah. And next turn you can coin out the Feral Spirits or play Tuskar. So
yeah. Tuskar would be a great play. So now we see turn 3 for PrivateRyan. He has a Fierce Monkey, probably, to contest the Totem Golem, and we see that being played, and now it's LB Dutch Boy to decide what he wants to play, and we see indeed that Tuskar Totemic coming onto the board.
Yeah, you just want to play on curve. You don't want to overload for next turn, because next turn you can play your 5/5 Taunt on turn 4. So that's pretty strong. Too bad he didn't get Totem Golem here. That's so strong if you get your Totem Golem from Tuskar Totemic.
Yeah, even a Flame Tongue Totem would be great, and he could have removed the Fierce Monkey, but he doesn't want to trade into that one. You could have a Whirlwind. So, yeah, what's PrivateRyan thinking about? Because you have the Corcoran Elite, you can put that on the board and just go face, but I feel like you have to fight for board control here, right?
Yeah, the way you win against the Shaman is fight for board control, take over the game, and don't let any damage get you. But what you can do is just play the Corcoran Elite, make some value trades even. You can go for the Monkey into the Tuskar and the Corcoran Elite on the 1/1, leaving you up with 2 minions, leaving him with the Totem Golem, and make it a little pretty awkward for LB Dutch Boy to trade here.
Yeah, and we see exactly that play, and yeah, now he has a pretty awkward hand. He has the thing from below, Primal Fusion with only 1 totem. Yeah, it's he's thinking about the Feral Spirits just to contest the board and try to get that board control, because without any board control, this Shaman, it doesn't have that much burst. It only has Doomhammer, I believe.
Yeah, Doomhammer, Rockbiter, of course. But this Shaman normally don't play Lava Burst and Lightning Bolt, so you're losing a lot of burst, but your minions are so strong, so you can burst with your minions pretty hard. I don't really get why you played the Feral Spirits here, not just play the Taunt and trade into the Monkey. But LB Dutch Boy has a good thing about that, I guess. And there's the Whirlwind.
Get some armor in there and a Battle Rage, so 2 draws for a PrivateRyan. He gets an Execute and a Ravaging Ghoul.
Yeah, Ravaging Ghoul Execute is one of those combos in this deck that's so strong. You can You can play the ghoul, damage all the opponent minions, and then you can choose your execute target. And the execute is pretty important in Shaman because they play that thing from below, like the 5/5 town, but they also play that 4 mana 7/7. It's really hard to deal with that on turn 4 or 5. So if you have that execute, just save it, and hopefully you can kill one of those big guys later in the game.
Yeah, but I believe that when you play Totem Golem of the Totem Shaman, you don't play the 4 mana 7/7. The Doctor 7 is not being played, and we see there that a card is drawn by the mana Tide Totem, and that's the Thunderbluff Valiant. Just one turn too early, because normally you want to play that Thunderbluff on turn 7 and then Totem up, right?
Yeah, you want to play it in combination with your hero power for sure. So you don't want to drop it on turn 5. Only when you have such board control that's 100% sure that it's not gonna die. But that's not the case here. And he's going for the Whirlwind here and trade into the. He's even executing the Mana Tide. I think that's a little bit too much. He's wasting so many.
Yeah, he's putting a lot into that, and the hand of the Shaman is way bigger than that of the Warrior. He has board control with his 5/5, but now it gets contested by the thing from below, and even 2.
Yeah, one of the big tempo swing cards in the Totem Shaman. You can play a 2 mana 5/5 town. That's ridiculous, right?
You can even play a 0 mana if it gets later into the game. And if we see that Fury War Axe being played, I guess we're going to see Harrison Jones. But with not the trades going to happen, I believe we're going to see a Thunderbluff maybe, or a Harrison Jones. That's, I believe, the choice that LB Dutch Boy is going to have to decide on right now.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the Harrison Jones because you're so far ahead on cards, and if you can make it even better, you will win on card advantage and not even on smoking him down or something, because it leaves PrivateRyan with only 1 card. Only the Ravaging Ghoul will survive here.
Yeah, and he can even tap or use his hero power, the Totemic Call, not the tap, but the Totemic Call once to make sure that and I believe I have forgotten to yeah.
It looks really good for LB Dutch Boy here. PrivateRyan has only 2 cards, and he's gonna drop them here, but LB Dutch Boy can clear them so easy with the Thunder Bluff and eventually the Flame Tongue Totem, or maybe Thunder Bluff, Hero Power, Rock Biter, or Primal Fusion. But I think PrivateRyan is ending up with 0 cards after this turn.
Yeah, I just have to make my apologies for not activating the music of Hearthstone. So all the nice animations and the sound effects that the game haven't been playing. So I believe that there could be a Thunder Bluff into Hero Power, into Primal Fusion here, or do you just want to make sure that you trade into that Frothing Berserker?
What you want to do is definitely clear the entire board here, so you don't even have to go for Thunder Bluff. You can even go for Flame Juggler. Check where the 1 damage will hit. If it hits one of the minions, you can go for Flame Tongue Totem, trade one of your totems into the 2 health guy, and then play the Rock Biter to clear the other one. Then you still have 3 mana left, so you can eventually go for like Primal Totem up, how is it called? Primal Fusion. Or
Primal
even
Fusion, yeah.
a 3/3 buff on one of the minions. But he decides differently. Maybe he's just gonna trade in the Harrison Jones, because it doesn't really matter to lose it, because you're so far ahead already. It doesn't matter that you lose your Harrison Jones here.
Yeah, it seems like he's gonna trade, and now we're gonna see if there's a good top deck. No, he's gonna trade in his totems and attack with the Harrison Jones. So what does a PrivateRyan draw into? It's the Ragnaros.
It's actually pretty good for him, because if he hits the
Thunderbluff Valiant. Oh, and he does hit the Thunderbluff Valiant. That's insane.
Well, I think LB Dutch Boy is still taking this one, because he can clear the Ragnaros so easy, and he's so many cards in hand. There's no way Ratje can top deck, or PrivateRyan can top deck something. Maybe Varian can make a tempo swing, like Varian into Gromage, into something like that. I think that's the only thing PrivateRyan can save him here. And the Flame Juggler, will it hit? Really important. Because if it hits, the
Ooh.
never lucky.
It would be a good trade, but now he might do a Master of Evolution, or he could trade both cards into it. You definitely want to remove the Ragnaros. Only the decision is, how do you do it? Do you use the Master Evolution? Do you go for a little bit of a... It's the risky play.
And what you also can do is just play the Feral Spirits with the Master of Evolution and just go face for 8 damage, because Ragnaros can only kill one. Can only kill one minion. Oh, but now the Floating Berserker is coming out of the Master of Evolution. Trading here is even better, because this Floating Berserker is going out of hand really fast.
Yeah, and we see an Ariati Weaponsmith, and I believe that's not going to do that much.
Nope.
And LB Dutch Boy will just be getting more ahead next turn. This is not going to be a tempo swing. So, yeah, Ryan has to play it, because otherwise he doesn't play anything. But he will not be happy with that top deck. Does the Tempo Warrior play any brawls? I believe not, right?
No, Tempo Warrior doesn't. Because you already have so many whirlwind effects, and most of the time you're already ahead on board, because you play a lot of small minions. So Brawl is a little bit useless in this deck.
All right. So I believe that we're going to see the totem, the Manatite totem being played.
Yes.
You don't have to hold back against this Tempo Warrior. You can just play, fill up the board, but maybe he's deciding if he wants to use his hero power or not to make the Primal Fusion even stronger.
Yeah, you just want to take it slow, because you're so far ahead, so you don't want to make any stupid mistakes that can eventually lose you the game. So he was probably thinking about, do I even have to overextend the board? Because if he top decks Brawl, he's instantly back into the game, but he decides like, no, there's no way Tempo Warrior is gonna play the Brawl here. And there's the draw, but that's not gonna help him. He needs Brawl or he loses this game instantly.
Yeah, but he doesn't have Brawl. So
no, that's the problem. So
yeah, we see the first win for LB Dutch Boy. He wins the first match of the first game of this match.
Yeah, really well played by LB Dutch Boy there. As you can see, it's like the Shaman is not that phase deck anymore that it was used to be before Standard. It's one of the strongest control decks, because you have so many low mana big minions. The 2 mana 5/5 town, but you also have that 7/7 4 mana. You have all the totems that can buff each other. It's really difficult to deal with all those big boards, especially when you get behind on board and you don't have a big board clear. It's so difficult.
We're gonna go into the second mulligan. It's gonna be the Warlock, the Reno Warlock versus the Tempo Warrior. So PrivateRyan is sticking to his Tempo Warrior. He's gonna try and get that win with that deck. That if he can get it off, it can get out of control pretty fast. But yeah, I don't believe it's the. I think it's a good counter to play the Warlock here, the Reno Warlock. It's gonna be a rough time for PrivateRyan to make it 1-1.
Yeah, especially Reno Look is pretty favored against the Tempo Warrior, because normally you outvalue the Tempo Warrior and then from that you win the game. Also, you have some big board clears and stuff, and also the Reno can help you a lot. The way Tempo Warrior is gonna win this is like setting him up to 20 health with a weapon up, and then burst him down with a Gromage combo or something like that.
Yeah, so you're looking to get some control going on of this game as a Tempo Warrior, and as the Warlock, you're just gonna tap and see if you can get that Reno. Because if you don't get the Reno, it can be a pretty rough matchup if you run out of your removal options as a Warlock. How aggressive do you want to be as a Warrior?
Yeah, you have to be really aggressive. You cannot really play around Reno Jackson. So the thing about this is the faster you smork him down, the less chance the Reno has to draw into his Reno. What's also pretty good to say is that LB Dutch Boy kept the Stampeding Kodo in his mulligan, because on turn 4, PrivateRyan is definitely gonna play the Bloodhawk Brave.
Yeah.
LB Dutch Boy will counter that instantly with the Stampeding Kodo. So really well played by LB Dutch Boy there.
But now we see the Bloodhawk Brave being played on turn 3 using the coin, and just to avoid the Kodo being played on it. So now he has to activate it himself with probably the Ravaging Ghoul being played, and you don't want to trade into the Giant, right? You just want to go face, you just want to be aggressive.
You can just execute. You can play Ravaging Ghoul and then they execute on the Mountain Giant and then go face for 8 damage. And oh, he didn't attack with the weapon. Wasn't it a lethal setup? If he went for face there, he put him on 18 and he has 11 on board. No, definitely not.
All right, so yeah, he has 11 damage in hand, and he could draw some cards next turn. He doesn't want any. He doesn't have any damage to the face, and sometimes you see in tournaments players who choose not to use the hero power or to hit the face of the Tempo Warrior to make sure that the Battle Rage doesn't get that much value. And we see that LB Dutch Boy is faceless, manipulating the Blood of Brave and gets his own 5/5 taunt.
Yeah, that's pretty awkward for LB Dutch Boy, because normally you want to save the faces for your Leroy combo, but he had no other turn 5 play, and if you don't do anything this turn, you get so far behind on board, especially when you don't have the Reno in hand. You have to do something, you cannot do nothing, right? And that's why he chose to Faceless Manipulator the taunt and get at least something on the board.
Yeah, he denies some damage, but there's still damage coming in from the Blood of Brave. He's going straight for the face of this Warlock, and aggression is on from PrivateRyan. He wants to make sure that this game ends as soon as possible, but there is Emperor Thorson reducing the mana of every card in the hand of the Warlock.
Yeah, and now LB Dutchboy can go for a big tempo swing with the Emperor, because he already had the Shadow Flame in hand, and that reduced with one of the card with like Power Overwhelming. You can buff one of your minions, play Shadow Flame, and get a pretty cheap board clear for 6 or 7 mana.
We see a pretty big draw here for PrivateRyan. He gets the Blood to Ichor, and with that he can trade pretty well with his weapon into the Emperor and gets a good board. But like you said, the Shadow Flame is in hand of LB Dutch Boy, and will he be able to clear this board?
Yeah, he's definitely able to clear it. Ooh, and he top decks the Spellbreaker there, and that's huge, because now he doesn't have to waste his Power Overwhelming. He can just go for the Spellbreaker, silence one of the minions, doesn't matter at all, because and then you just play Shadow Flame for 3 mana. So you have a full board clear for 7.
The question is he going to choose to do that? No, he goes, no, he's thinking about the Dark Peddler. Maybe he doesn't...
Yeah, he can go for Dark Peddler, PO that card. Ooh, and he picks up Abusive Sergeant, and that's actually really huge, because now he can pick the Abusive, make the Dark Peddler 4, and then Shadow Flame. And then you clear the entire board and also have a minion on the board.
Yeah, but there is a lot of pressure on this Warlock. We see a Fury Warx in the hand of PrivateRyan, so he will keep the pressure going on. And if he finds a little bit more damage, he can finish off the Warlock, because Reno Jackson is not in the hand of LB Dutch Boy. And do you want to be tapping still or not?
No, definitely not. You want to develop a minion. You want to protect your life points. You don't want to get burst down by a weapon or maybe Gromage next turn. So developing a taunt is pretty good here. And he decided to pick the Bloodsail Corsoir. And that's pretty well played, because he doesn't have a heal yet. So he has to protect his life points, and if PrivateRyan plays a weapon, he has no way of dealing with that, and now he has. Now he can kill the weapon.
Yeah, he can kill the weapon with the Bloodsail Corsair, and he has the Earthen Ring Farsi to heal up to 11, and even the Defender of Argus to make sure he gets another taunt of that slime that is right now on the board, so he can still keep his life total in check and make it for the Warrior pretty hard to kill him off. And that's the thing with this Warlock. It seems so easy to kill it, but with all the taunts and everything, still, it's just a deck that keeps life, whatever you try to do to it.
Yeah, you have so many answers for so many different situations. That's the strong part about Reno Lock. And PrivateRyan is at the point that he lost his tempo and has to find a way of sweeping the tempo now. But he has the variant in hand, so turn 10 is going to be huge.
Yeah, and we see a turn, an 8 Alexstrasza, so there was no panicking of the Warlock. He could still use the Alexstrasza to heal himself up, but decides not to do that. He can Spellbreaker the Cairn?
Yeah, but what you also can do is just slam the Alexstrasza on the face of the opponent and then go face with the rest of it and put him on like 10 HP. You already saw one execute, so the chance he has the second one is pretty small. And he cannot see the hand of PrivateRyan, so he doesn't know he has it.
Yeah, but we know that the execute is in the hand, but there's a lot of pressure. The pressure, the swing of the board is happening. The Warlock is now in control of this match, and it's for PrivateRyan to crawl back in. But like you said at the earlier stage of this game, if the Warrior loses control of this game, then it's going to be pretty rough. It's going to be an uphill battle and a big hill to climb for PrivateRyan. And I don't expect him to get out of it. But do you see a way for him to get out?
This turn is actually a pretty huge tempo swing. He gets some help from the Armor Smith. He has the Whirlwind to clear 2 of the 3 minions, and he executes the Alex. So he will end up with only the 1/1. Or is he going face? Wow, he's deciding to go in face to pressure lethal here. I think that's a good choice here, because LB Dutchboy is still no heal. He's looking for that Reno.
Yeah, he's still looking for that Reno, and the question is he gonna tap and try to find it, or is he gonna use that Siphon Soul maybe with the Spellbreaker on the cairn to try and make sure that he stays alive and clear out that Armor Smith? We see the Spellbreaker being played on the cairn, or is he gonna do it? He's thinking about it, that for sure.
Yeah, he has to, otherwise he will die next turn. And he has to Siphon Soul the cairn now. If he didn't do that, he will probably be dead next turn.
Yeah, but now we'll see the Varian Rin coming onto the board. He will draw 3 cards. Ooh. And he can also go for the 33% win chance.
Yeah, it's too bad he dropped the Ragnaros here, because if you could get that with the Varian, that would be huge. But you can go for the 33%, but I still think Varian is a little bit better here.
Varian and trade your weapon into, yeah, you'll just first see what you get,
but I think PrivateRyan has to think about dying here, because he's on 12 HP, there's 6 damage on the board for LB Dutchboy, and if he goes for Varian, he will die to Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, Leroy Jenkins would be a great top deck, but also a Reno Jackson. So is he gonna go for the win? Is this his last chance? Because the longer you give the Warlock, the higher the chance that he is able to draw into that Reno.
Wow, and he's going for it. That's pretty well played, because he has 33% of winning here, and also the armor up puts him out of the range of Leroy. And if it hits one of the minions, it's also pretty good.
And now it's a tough decision for LB Dutchboy. What is he going to do? He has to deal with this Ragnaros, or at least play some minions on the board to make sure that the Rag doesn't hit his face, to reduce the chances of the Warrior to win this game with just 1 Rag Blast. So
LB Dutchboy has to play his entire hand here, because to reduce the chance of hitting the Rag on the face, but just Varian here and extend the board a little bit better. But you can also decide to go for Whirlwind and then draw 2 cards with better rage, but I like Varian more.
Varian to draw 3 cards, and if it's a minion, it's going to be played on the board. So we see Varian hoovering over the board, and it's coming down. The 7/7 is going to draw 3 cards. It's going to be the Cochrane Elite.
Ooh. And another charge. Can still get Gromage. Oh, and that's lethal for PrivateRyan.
So PrivateRyan makes it even. And we're gonna go to a score of 1-1.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Well played by PrivateRyan. He made a huge comeback. He was pretty far behind against Reno, but LB Dutchboy was not getting his heal. And yeah, and PrivateRyan was keep pressuring him.
Yeah, so we see a 1-1 score right now. We have LB Dutchboy winning with the Shaman, PrivateRyan winning with the Warrior, and Ryan has the Hunter and the Warlock left. LB Dutchboy has the Warlock and the Freeze Mage left. So 2 control decks for LB Dutchboy and 2 mid decks. It's a Zoolock, I believe, and
yeah, it's a Zoo.
A Zoo and more of a Beast Hunter.
Yeah, it's like a mid-range hunter. But with the new card, Call of the Wild, that's insanely strong. That card is the one of the strongest cards now in Hunter. So if they can curve out and finish it off with the Call of the Wild, he has a chance with winning against Reno and Freeze Mage.
So the tactic of the hunter is putting a lot of pressure on your opponent, making sure that he doesn't get board control, that you keep the control, and then eventually finishing it off with so much pressure you get from Call of the Wild.
Exactly. And also that minions are so sticky that things like Infested Wolf, Savannah Highmane, they all have pretty decent death rattle effects, so it's pretty hard to deal with those minions.
It's not a full Death Rattle hunter, but it's a little bit of a hunter. And I hear the mulligan coming in, so we're gonna go to the next game.
Oh, and we see the Zoo against the Freeze Mage of LB Dutch Boy. And here we directly see a really important tech card for the Zoo, the Crazed Alchemist.
Yeah, the Crazed Alchemist. Can you tell us a little bit about, because that's indeed a tech card, but it's new since the expansion is out. What does it do?
Yeah, you don't have lower tap anymore, or some cards like that. So Freeze Mage is completely wrecking you as a Zoo. So the Crazed Alchemist is countering the Doomsayer. If he goes for Frost Nova Doomsayer, you Alchemist the Doomsayer and it will die because it will end up with 0 health, so it will die. So that's why they play Crazed Alchemist in Zoo nowadays.
Yeah, and Doomsayer is also big in Nazad Paladins.
Exactly, yeah, you see it in all kinds of decks. All controlled decks are playing Doomsayer now to counter the Shamans, the Zulocks, decks that put a lot of pressure in the early game.
Yeah, and we see the villager, a golden villager, he's almost disappearing, and if you clear it out, there is just a new villager to attack your face. So what we also see is the Novice Engineer. It's a new addition to the Freeze Mage instead of the Loot Hoarder. Why is that?
Yeah, Novice Engineer gives you directly the card. Instead of when you play Loot Hoarder, you have to wait one more turn, or even 2 turns, before you get the card you want from the Loot Hoarder. And if you play Novice Engineer, you directly get the card you need.
So like we said earlier during the stream, the players don't know each other's card lists. But the Villager is definitely showing that this is Zoo, and the Novice Engineer is definitely showing that it is Freeze Mage.
Yes.
So what has PrivateRyan has to do to win this game?
What you're doing to win this game is pressure him a lot. Put all your threats on the board. Smork him as fast as possible down, because the longer you take to finish the Freeze Mage off, the harder it gets, because from turn 6 till turn 10, they have the possibility to play Blizzard, Frost Nova, Doomsayer, Flame Strikes, get all those big board clears in, and also they have the time to get all the burn to finish you off, because also you're damaging yourself. You don't play any heals.
No, you just want to go and get that health of the mage as fast as you can down, because there is already a Blizzard in hand, but we also have a Frost Nova indeed, and some Doomsayers, but we see also the Crazed Alchemist in hand to counter that play. We also see a Sea Giant who has been reduced to 2 mana, and the pressure on the board is going to be pretty big of this Zulok. So we don't see PrivateRyan trading right now into the cards of the Freeze Mage. You don't want to trade your cards right now, or?
No, it has no point in trading here. Especially when you have that spell damage on board, you don't want to trade at all. You want to trade the Acolyte though, because otherwise he's getting 2 or 3 cards out of it, and now he's only getting 1. But you don't have to clear the Blood Mage Thanos yet, because you're just giving him a card, and also the spell damage on turn 4 or 5 doesn't matter at all, because the spell damage does matter at turn 6 and 7 when the Blizzard and Flame Strikes are coming in.
We see here a Flame lands from LB Dutch Boy on the Giant, because he knows that the pressure is on. You don't want to get hit by 8 in the face while the Ice Block is...
And is this power overwhelming enough to pop the block? He has like 6, he's 10, he has 14 damage already. So next turn, he can go for the Ice Block pop. But since PrivateRyan plays the double Flame Imp, he is already on 20 health. So maybe LB Dutchboy can find a way of stalling the game 3 or 4 more turns and burst him down with the Pyroblast.
Yeah, he makes sure that the Talnos goes down to prevent the spell damage to do even more than it should. He didn't play the Argent Squire, and that's because you want to keep an open space for a Doomguard, or?
No, turn 5 is Frost Nova Doomsayer turn, because it's 3 mana of Frost Nova, 2 mana of Doomsayer. So if you fill up your board and he freezes the board, you cannot play a Crazed Alchemist to destroy the Doomsayer.
Right. So that's why he only has 6 minions on the board, just to keep that spot for the Crazed Alchemist if the Doomsayer comes down. But now is a pretty awkward turn for LB Dutch Boy. He can only play the Doomsayer.
Yes.
Well, he is with his back against the wall. And I know that Freeze Mage has a pretty high win rate. But all the matches I see that the Freeze Mages are struggling pretty hard.
Yeah, because you lost your Mad Scientist, you have to play that Ice Block on turn 4 or turn 3. So you're losing a little bit of tempo on the board, because also the Mad Scientist was contesting those small minions like the Flame Imps and the Dark Peddlers. You don't have that minions anymore, so you're relying on all your freezes late game. So if Zulok can get so much pressure in the early game, like the 2 mana Sea Giant, Freeze Mage has no way of dealing with that.
Yeah, we see that the Ice Block is getting popped right now. And after that, we probably see the Crazed Alchemist coming down to clear the Doomguard. He just wanted to see if it was Ice Block or another secret.
And Blizzard is not helping him, because if he plays Blizzard, the Possessed Villager will spawn a new 1/1. So that will kill him off. So I think you have to ping the Possessed Villager and then play the Ice Block to survive one more turn. But I don't think LB Dishward can find a way of coming back.
Do you know if PrivateRyan is playing Doomguards?
I don't know. I think he does.
Oh, and he has the Knife Juggler. So if he gets Blizzard, if LB Dutchboy plays the Blizzard,
yes,
he can kill the mage with his Knife Juggles. So I believe this is going to be 2-1.
It's going to be 2-1 for PrivateRyan, because there's no way LB Dishward can find a way of coming back. And there we go. Knife Juggler into... What is he going to play?
Into the Voidwalker.
Into the Voidwalker for the win.
Alright, so LB Dutch Boy is 1-2, so PrivateRyan takes the lead in this game.
Yeah, and now it's really... now it's looking really good for PrivateRyan, because LB Dutch Boy was thinking, he's probably going to pick the Zoo, so then I have a good matchup with Freeze, and then I can finish it off with Renalock against his Hunter or Zoo. But now Zoo won against Freeze. The mid-range Hunter is pretty favored against Freeze Mage. So it's going to be really, really difficult for LB Dutchboy to turn this game around.
Alright, so we see the Freeze Mage against the Hunter, and there's the Call of the Wild, the card you talked about. But we also see Stampeding Kodo, and we see the Stampeding Kodo a lot in this meta. Can you tell me a little bit about why the Stampeding Kodo is such a strong card right now?
Yeah, it's so strong against all the Doomsayers at first. And it's also really strong against the Bloodhound Brave from Tempo Warrior. It's good against the Imp Gang Boss of Zoo. There are a lot of decks playing 2 health or lower minions, and it's such a tempo swinging if you can pull it off. And it's still pretty nice stats for 5 mana. 3/5 for 5 mana. It's not strong, but it's a pretty decent body on the board.
The best turn is, of course, with the Bran Bronzebeard and then the Kodo, and then killing off 2 minions with the Stampeding Kodo. That feels so strong. And let's go into the Discover. We see Unleash the Hounds, Animal Companion, and Kill Command for PrivateRyan.
Yeah, he's picking up the Animal Companion because he has the coin in hand and he also has the bow. So you want to coin out the 3-drop. He didn't have a 3-drop yet, so now you can coin out Animal Companion, roll Huffer, go for 4 damage. Oh, and Deadly Shot is also really, really good against Freeze Mage, because if he goes for Frost Nova Doomsayer, you can just Deadly Shot the Doomsayer. And there's the Misha, also one of the strongest. Leok was the worst here.
Yeah, Leos was the worst, but you want to have the Huffer But the 4/4 is okay. We see two cards being drawn by the mage. He draws into the Acolyte of Pain and an Ice Block. And
The second deadly shot. I think you just push damage here. Just go for 7 to the face. The tactic here to win is just smork him down, because the freeze mage doesn't play any heals. So if you can put him on low HP, you can just hero power him to death. And even if he goes for the ice barrier later on in the game and he's on like 5 or 6 health, you just don't attack anymore. You just hero power, kill command, quick shot him to 0 health.
Yeah, because you don't want to trigger the ice barrier, because if you use spells, the ice barrier is not getting popped and your enemy doesn't get the 8 armor. But if you run into it with minions, it's gonna get popped, and yeah, well, the mage heals up and you want to prevent that. And do you want to play the freezing trap right here, or is that too much of a tempo loss? Because probably the freezing trap is never gonna go off, right?
The freezing trap is one of those cards you're never gonna play, because LB Dutchboy is never gonna attack. Maybe if he goes for Alexstrasza later in the game, you can go for it, but for now on, you just curve your minions, you just play the Infested Wolf, you just go for Harrison Jones next turn. You just curve out and smork him down to 0. That's the tactic of this Hunter deck.
And there we see a good pickup, the Frost Nova for the mage. But what he doesn't know is that PrivateRyan has 2 deadly shots in his hand. So if that Doomsayer is going to come down, it's going to get removed pretty soon. He also has a Stampeding Kodo. So 3 ways to deal with this Doomsayer. And I believe that the Stampeding Kodo is going to come down, because that is the best tempo play that he can make.
Yeah, exactly. You can play Kodo here and also develop a minion at the same time. You can kill the Doomsayer and develop a minion. And go again for 6 damage. I still think you just hammer him down with the Eagle Horn, but he's saving the weapon here.
So now already I believe LB Dutchboy is a little bit under pressure. He plays 2 Acolytes of Pain just to make sure that he draws anything. But I believe that as PrivateRyan, you just want to ignore these 2 and even buff your minions with that Hound Monster, that top deck. That's gonna be great.
Hound Monster is huge here. It's a 4/3 body on the board, but it also buffs your minions in a range that they cannot be killed by like Flame Strike or something. So you just go face here, use the hero power instead of the minion, because the hero power is 100% damage and the minion isn't. And now you put the freeze mage on the clock. They're on a 5-turn clock. And if we see the hand of LB Dutchboy, I don't see a proper way of coming back in this.
Oh, he has to draw into that, and maybe the Novice Engineer can give him the card that he needs, or is he going to trade with the Acolytes of Pain? He needs to draw something. He can also ping his own Acolytes of Pain to make sure that he doesn't get 1 card, but 2 cards of one of those Acolytes. You know for sure that PrivateRyan is never going to run into them. So yeah, we see here LB Dutchboy pinging his own Acolyte of Pain, draws into a Blood Mage Telmos, not the card that he was looking for, but let's see if he draws any further.
You can just go for Novice Engineer and freeze the board. You need the card draw, you still have another freeze, so you're pretty safe for a few more turns. Maybe you can draw in the enough burst to maybe freeze the board, smork him a little bit, and then burst him down from 15 to 0 or something. But it's going to be really difficult though.
Looking some turns ahead, if he draws into an Alexstrasza, LB Dutchboy, and PrivateRyan draws into that Call of the Wild, you might heal yourself up, but then there is the pressure of the Call of the Wild. We don't see it in the hand of PrivateRyan right now. He draws a Carrion Grub. Why is the Carrion Grub in this deck? Is it such a good card? It's a 2/5 for 3. It's like a Druid of the Flame.
Yeah, it's pretty important that it's a beast. So what you can do, what you want to do with this deck is curve out. So what you want to do is play on turn 3 the Carrion Grub, and turn 4 you play double Hound Masters in the deck. So on turn 4 you want to Hound Master it, and then you have like a 4/7 taunt for 3 mana. And it also 2/5 is pretty good stats. 5 health is so strong, especially against those aggressive decks. You can probably make two decent trades.
So it's a good card, it's a good board control card against Shaman, against Zoo, to make sure that you don't get pressured down. So we saw hero power to the face of the mage, who's at 8 right now. Is there more coming down? Yes, it's the bow into the Acolyte of Pain, just to make sure that the mage doesn't draw 2 cards of it. And that fireballs thing, I believe you can do the blizzard right now.
I think you go for the Blood Mage Stelnos and Blizzard, but it will give also the Private Ryan some 1-1, so maybe you don't want to combine it with the Blood Mage because you just want to freeze it. You don't want to kill the Infested Wolf. So you can go for Blizzard, stall a little bit longer. You picked up the Alex, so you want to freeze, play Alex next turn, but does he have enough burst already in hand? He has like 6, 9, he has only 9 damage. But if he goes for the freeze, go Alex next turn, play Ice Block, Fireball the turn after, and then the turn after that you can Pyroblast for lethal.
Yes, so he can still win.
The only thing that's gonna win for Private Ryan here is that he lethals him here. But is there a way? He have 5 damage there, so it's not enough. He cannot pop the Ice Block here. So I think this game is going to LB Dutch Boy.
Yeah, because he's going to play that Alexstrasza, like you said, on the face of the Hunter, and then the health gets reduced to 15. But because of the Ice Block, the Mage cannot be killed. And the turn after, he can play another Ice Block and the Fire Blast, and then the Hunter is on 9 health, and then the Pyroblast will finish it off. That is what we are expecting to be happening, and that's the way for LB Dutch Boy to win. The question is, can the Hunter pop that block before that?
No, there's no way he can. He can only do 5 damage here. Ooh, and there's even more burst. But we're definitely gonna see Alex here.
And that's the power of the Freeze Mage. Out of nothing, you can still win with an Alex and enough Ice Block, enough stalling to get your burst combo off. So first we were thinking that maybe Private Ryan was taking this game 3-1, but LB Dutch Boy is calling himself back into this game. And there the Ice Block gets popped, but it doesn't matter because there's another one in the hands of LB Dutch Boy.
Yeah, that Alexstrasza pickup was huge, of course, for LB Dutch Boy. That was the only card that was going to save him there. So really well played also by Dutch Boy. He had all the freezes. He went for all the card draw. He knew that he needed the Alex, so he went for all the card draw that was possible with the double Acolyte, then playing both Novice Engineers. And he dropped already 20 cards, so the chance he dropped the Alex was pretty big.
So yeah, we're gonna see we don't gonna see that Alex doing anything. Maybe try to trade, but then the freeze trap is gonna get popped. We're gonna see the Ice Block and the Fireball probably. Yeah, it's gonna check for that freezing trap just to make sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just play the block here, bursting down till 9. Oh, he's even going for Torch and Fireball to be 100% sure he's gonna die next turn. There could be a hidden Earthen Farce here, right?
Could be. But there is no healing in the hand of Private Ryan, and that means that LB Dutch Boy will be taking this game next turn because he has the Pyroblast in hand. Private Ryan doesn't know this, but will know for sure pretty soon when it's the turn of LB Dutch Boy.
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, as Private Ryan, you know there are six more bursts in the hand of LB Dutch Boy, especially when they have like 8 or 9 cards in hand. Okay, and he's finishing off with the top deck to tilt maybe Private Ryan a little bit.
Always a good play. So a win for the Freeze Mage.
And now it's gonna be really, really close what's gonna happen this game. It's 2-2, 1 more match to go. Reno look against the Hunter. And this is gonna be a huge match. It's the first game of the season.
It is, and it's already 2-2. And we're gonna see the Warlock of LB Dutch Boy versus the Hunter of Private Ryan. Who is favored in this matchup?
I think it's around 50-50 here. Depends on LB Dutch Boy drawing the Leroy or not. Oh, the Reno Jackson. But he already has it in his starting hand. And that is making a huge difference because it gives you so much more time to stabilize the board and stuff.
And we also see that Imp Gang Boss that can help him a little bit for the early board control, and already the Emperor Thorsten. Emperor Thorsten you want to play when you have at least one part of the combo in hand, and the combo is Leroy Jenkins, Power Overwhelming, and Faces Manipulator, and then you can do 20 damage from your hand, right?
Yeah, it's really important to remind that you always have to discount one of the combo parts, otherwise it's not possible to play the combo. Ooh,
Yes.
and it's a huge deadly shot, because he doesn't have a proper way of dealing with the Imp Gang Boss, and it's gonna give him multiple 1-1s. So I think you just deadly shot this, or is he afraid for something bigger on turn 3 or 4?
Who to shoot?
Could be he's going to go for that Animal Companion, maybe hoping for Leok, but now with that Misha coming down, because if you played the Animal Companion, every companion would trade efficiently into the Imp Gang Boss. So I believe it was a good play of PrivateRyan. With Leok, he could have traded with the Ooze.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there were 3 good outcomes there. But what is he gonna do now? He can like trade the Imp Gang Boss and go for the Flame Juggler and go for the 50-50. Or maybe even just go for Freezing Trap, Hero Power, and go face.
Who to shoot?
Multiple options.
Yeah, a lot of options, and it's PrivateRyan to choose what he believes is best, and he's gonna play the Freezing Trap, I believe, with the Hero Power and put some more pressure on the board. And I think he's saying to LB Dutch Boy, look, this is a Freezing Trap, because otherwise he would have traded, I guess.
Yeah, there's also a slight chance it's a snake. It's a snake trap. You don't see that card that often, but it's pretty strong, especially when you have it towned up. And PrivateRyan chooses to go full face and want to smoke him down, maybe even before turn 6 when LB Dutchwood can play his Reno. He had the kill command already in hand, so he has next turn he has like 7, and 7 is 14 damage, so he's 2 damage of lethal next turn.
So Ryan almost has the game in the bag. He's very close, and he has tracking to look for more damage. Or does he want to take it slow? That is the question. He has that deadly shot. He kept it, and that's a pretty good card for that giant on the board.
Yeah, that's huge. It's good for him that he saved the deadly shot there and not wasting it on the Imp Gang Boss. He can put him on... Yeah, he can put him on 7 HP and burn him down next turn. And LB Dutch Boy, it's turn 5 for him, so he cannot even play the Reno Jackson here.
And not even the Siphon Soul. So what is he gonna do? If he plays the Hellfire, he goes down to 4. And with the Mortal Coil, he's hoping that there is not enough damage in the hand of PrivateRyan. But we see the kill command and of course the Hero Power. That will be enough to finish off this game. So I believe that PrivateRyan will be taking the first game of this season, the first game of the ESL Benelux Championship.
Yeah, really well played by PrivateRyan. He's taking the first game there. And yeah, really well played. The underdog is winning here.